Well, here we are for the Fast Fours magazine, Jamboree number 13. I'm Craig Roberts. Welcome to Willowbank Raceway. That's where we are now. It's about 30 degrees outside here on the lovely Saturday. Plus, we'll also be here Sunday, the first time the Jamboree has ever been over 2 days. We got the cars, we got all the show cars here today. We've got the quickest race cars in the country, plus our friends from New Zealand in the Sunoco Kiwi Challenge. We've also got the Jamboree Babes. We have got all sound systems. We have got everything here. So let's go check it out. one of our Sunoco Kiwi Challenge cars. Our pilot Glenn Suckling coming over the R32 Croydon Wholesalers Skyline. How's everything been going for you, Glenn?
Yeah, not too bad so far. We've only done a half pass and one pass just for licensing so far, but yeah, not too bad.
How's everything looking for you? You've obviously got the nitrous oxide hat on there. Are we going to see a bit of the bottle this weekend?
Yes, you will. Not today. We'll be running the bottle tomorrow at some stage. Obviously, that's going to give us quite a bit more power, but at the moment we need to set the car up for this track. It's much stickier than anything we've ever run on before, and we need to get the car out of the hole first. We'll worry about the extra power later.
So how have track preparation or your preparations for this race meeting differed from anything else in New Zealand?
Well, our track in New Zealand that we use is does not have as much grip as here, and it's a little bit bumpier. So we've had a change. We brought a lot of spares for the things that we know that we have problems with braking. So we've tried to cover all the bases we can with the equipment we have. We've done a few changes already before we arrived here, as we knew what the track conditions were going to be like somewhat. But yeah, the track is very, very sticky. Different
suspension setups or different mechanical tunes or?
More than one thing, yes. Different spring rates, different suspension setups. The way we use our gear change with our sequential gearbox is something we've designed ourselves, and also we have to change that for this track. So, yeah, we'll do the best we can with the time we've got. We've got a short time frame, but we'll try and better our best time tomorrow if we can.
So, getting underway live here at Jamboree 13. We see out there in front of us at the moment Glenn Suckling. I'm Jason Bean, and of course joining me will be Craig Roberts. Good afternoon to you, Craig.
Oh, good afternoon, Jason. I tell you what, this part of the Sunoco Kiwi Challenge, the R32 of Glenn Suckling and the guys, the Croydon Wholesalers, it is sensational to see it here in Australia for the first time. The car over here laying down a bit of an exhibition pass. I tell you what, gets out a 1.560 footer, not really relevant on the four-wheel drive.
I get a little bit out of shape, out of the groove off the start, but runs it on through and stops the clocks 9.18, 153 miles per hour.
Tony Curry with us this weekend. He's doing a little bit of Andra licensing here. Just a safety feature. You must get your race license before you start racing. And Tony just going to go to the half-track mark on this pass. And as you can hear, he shuts it off and goes through a 9.71 at 115 miles an hour for the first checkout pass of the day for the Ford Probe.
Yeah, the Ford Probe, of course, one of the Thunder Road race cars, tuned by Craig Dyson, and beautiful looking car now appearing right in front of us. It is, of course, the New South Wales-based PAC MX-6 Mazda.
That's right, the PAC Performance guy and George Raham at the wheel. This weekend, I'll tell you what, this has got to be the most sensational car at the event and one of the most unveiled cars anyway. Everyone's here to see this car, and well, this is the first pass of the day, and I believe he's going to do a couple of launches for the licensing in Andra, and let's see what he can do.
Well, Craig, we've seen the car at a few car shows around the country, and this is now its first debut on track. Let's see what he can unwind here in licensing. Comes out very, very hard on the launch indeed, and shakes it to a 1.10. That is just very staunch indeed.
Crossing now to the Turbo Smart in-car camera here with the guys PAC Performance in the MX-6.
Yeah, great vision to actually see the work that George has to undertake to get this little MX-6 down the racetrack. And as you can see, plenty of smoke engulfing the cabin, and makes you wonder how he breathes in there.
Oh, that's right. He probably lives on the stuff, George Raham, and all the PAC Performance guys. They love their burnout. As you can see, the cabin's still filled with smoke. We're just about to go. Let's hold on for the ride. And that was the launch from George Raham. The huge big tyre shake. You see the car shaking around right at the end. Oh, Archie Kieski bringing this fantastic Mazda Cosmo out here this weekend, doing a little bit of Andra licensing, one more, a brand new car here.
Yeah, that's right. I believe the Andra stewards have requested that he runs a half pass to make sure this Cosmo can get down the track safely, and anything that Mazfix puts their hands to, we know that can certainly pedal very, very hard indeed.
That's right, this car, the old engine out of the Series 6 RX-7, has gone into the, Chevy Beretta / Mazda Cosmo of Archie and the guys at Mazfix, but goes quite well with a half track. and we'll just run it all the way through at 980 at 92 miles an hour, but hoping for very good 7 or 6 second times out of this car later on.
Well, we're about to move in with Chris Dalton now. Of course, Chris with this gorgeous looking RX-7 for Dalton Automotive. And doesn't the car look a treat out here today at Willowbank?
I'll tell you what, a black car is a big statement in anyone's mind, and I think this would have to be second to none in any Series 6 RX-7 out here. The guys, Dalton Automotive, still running the 20B single turbo.
Comes out bobbing the front wheel now to the half-track mark in 5.43 seconds and goes the quarter mile 880, 138 mile an hour. As now we move into pro rear-wheel drive qualifying with Rodney Penrose from New South Wales in this great 68 VW Beetle.
Pro rear-wheel drive brought to us today by Chip Talk Performance on the Gold Coast, a proud sponsor of the pro rear-wheel drive bracket.
And just having a look at this car, Craig, Australia's fastest VW, and of course was the first VW to step into the 8-second region. Now running with the assistance, as you can see on the front of the car, with Oz-Noz Nitro Systems, and it really just has that sleek appearance about it, very easily cutting through the atmospheric conditions. Is this great-looking VW of Rod Penrose's.
Chase, this car, I'll tell you what, it probably revolutionised the Volkswagen trend back into Australia, being the first Volkswagen into the 8-second barrier. And I'll tell you what, he's certainly on his march today. See what he can do. The biggest problem is trying to keep the front wheels on the ground in any Volkswagen, really.
Yeah, I tell you what, we've seen some great wheel stands over the years from Rod Penrose. Of course, we're about to see him go. Pre-stage and stage lights are on. Comes out with a small hop, skip and a jump on the second gear. Picks the front wheels up. Now starts to charge it through the top end of the gear. Front of the guard pops out with a Zeus clip. Let's go. And the chute comes out safely to run through 10:42, 105 mile an hour.
Marty Hurd now, the little Datsun 1200 coupe with a huge rotor motor in it for pro racing.
13B under the bonnet for Marty Hurd, and of course moving in beside him, Smokin' Joe Signorelli in this RX-7 20B triple rotor. And this car has been very, very impressive throughout the last couple of months. Let's see how he goes right here in Queensland.
Oh, Marty Hurd, big dash to the left-hand side, shuts it off nice and early. Make sure it's safe, but I tell you what, Smokin' Joe, 773 at 168 miles an hour. First 7-second pass of the day. I'll tell you what, Smokin' Joe, he just keeps getting better. Here's another great in-car camera shot brought to us by Turbo Smart.
Action coming thick and fast now with Craig Dyson and Vince Rigoli. Dyson, of course, in this red RX-7, and of course in beside him that tough little ute of Vince Rigoli, the 1200 ute with the Fiat 2-litre 4-cylinder under the bonnet. We're underway, and Dyson is out and gone on Rigoli, a 0.63 reaction to the 2.9 reaction from Rigoli. It'll be Craig Dyson who goes all the way. He runs on through 9041, 141 mile an hour, and a 964 at 149 for Rigoli.
And we've got the man, Andrew, the Mad Dentist Muratas, back again. Anyone might remember this car from last year's Jamboree. It was a silver RX-3, getting big time out of shape with Craig Dyson in a scuffle. But I tell you what, he sold the car, couldn't be without it, bought it back, painted it red, and he's back here again racing at J13, the first of the two-day events here at Willowbank Raceway.
Well, you know what they say, Craig, red goes faster. Let's see just how fast it goes for Muratas now. It comes out, wheels up, 1.28 to the 60 foot. Now runs it out the back door.
833, 159 for the little RX-3.
Oh.
I tell you what, he'll be very, very happy with that.
Chris Agaris now moves forward this little Mazda B Series utility, and it is a toughie. It certainly looks the piece.
The wheels in the back of it, Jace, look almost as big as the whole car. Chris Agaris, I tell you what, this thing is pumping. You see it get out of the line. The nose sits up the whole way off the track. Gets it out. He's really punching it down. I tell you what, it's running nice and straight. Goes through 889, 150 mile an hour.
Well, I'll tell you what, Chris Agris, I can't wait to see that car back next time as Darren Worthington takes on Daniel Gretsch. And the pair out. Have a look at the little Galant wagon there. It takes all types to run here at J13. And this time around, looks like it's going to be Worthington who runs on through 10:45, 131 mile an hour.
Danny McDessie, the little Honda Civic, the front-wheel drive. We're seeing a lot more quicker front-wheel drive cars here at the Jamboree every single year. This Honda Civic is no exception at all.
Have a look at what he's running in beside though, a Mazda 808.
Little rotary power, the 13V.
Oh, problems indeed. So we've got massive problems there for Michael Palmer. And the 808, well, not a good move running down the centre of the strip. That would have been, I guess the choice would have been to have him right up against that wall. So if he is losing any oil or fluid, he's not going to interfere with up-and-coming races.
Yes, and slow down as quick as possible. But one man who's definitely not slowing down this weekend, Tony Curry, brings out the Ford Probe here. 20B triple turbo and triple rotor. So we've got triple rotor, triple turbo in a Ford Probe.
Comes out 60 foots in a 1.272 second pass. 660 foot at half track, 5.68 seconds. And covers the quarter mile in 877, 156. He's got to be pretty happy with that.
Ask you one. We will get through. That's enough for me. We got a runner. We have Nova and Janine, I think. Haley, come on guys, give it up for Haley. Come on to the stage. Go girls! And everyone else, we'll see you next year. Give it away. Okay. Michelle, Jessica, Janine, or Kylie. All right.
About to come forward for its first full-powered pass here at the Fast Fours Jamboree is George Raham in this great-looking Pax MX-6. Now, what can this car produce?
The guys have been in the pits. They've been tuning and tweaking and making sure everything's okay on the car. This is the first event for the Pack MX-6. This is their battleship. This is put all the eggs in one basket and let's go out and see what we can do. They've been doing their licensing passes all day so far. So we see the guys here, George Raham and the guys Pack Performance. We've got the split car shots. We've got the Turbo Smart in-car camera as well as the track at this. Jace, are we going to see a 7-second pass out of it?
Well, let's hope so. The car is designed and built to run into the 7th. Very lazy off the start line. 1.39, not as fast as his first pass. Comes down through the deep end, pulls the parachute lever, and runs a 783, 171 mile an hour. That is huge.
The car's first 7-second pass. The guys, Pack Performance, will be over the moon by that performance. William Gable on the line now, the Mazda RX-3 Coupe. Hype 10A, the number plate. I tell you what, I probably reckon he's removed the 10A and gone with a 13B. I can tell you what, I can guarantee you that. But beside him, all the way from South Australia up here this weekend, Ben Siddell in the RX3 Coupe.
Yeah, a little bit of a different engine combination for Siddell.
Oh, big wheel stand.
20B powering that car out with the wheel stands. Now we see Gable get out 2.4 seconds later, but the race is all over Red Rover. And of course, Ben Siddell, he'll be looking for the Reach for the Sky award.
We are here with Denny and the online Honda Del Sol CRX. Denny, how's your weekend been going so far?
Oh, it's been great. Weather, you know, with the people and weather and everything is just great.
Sensational out here, the Jamboree, a 2-day event this year. Just recently, the car has become Australia's quickest front-wheel drive. How do you feel about that?
Oh, it's great. All those years of work has just paid off, you know.
We're looking at going a little bit quicker this weekend.
Yeah, hopefully the single digits are coming soon, so hopefully we can go out this weekend and run something that's going to impress a lot of people here.
Denny, a big feat. The car is Australia's one and only tube frame or pro front driver car. How do you feel about that? You guys obviously built everything or most of the components in-house down at Online Performance.
Yeah, it's actually a job that we didn't know what to expect when we took the project on, because it's such a big job building a whole car, but now it's actually finally done and we can actually go out testing and it's starting to pay off.
The much-awaited arrival, Denny Veselinovic and the Online Performance Honda Del Sol full tube frame CRX. This thing is amazing, Jace.
Well, we saw the car just on demonstration here last year, of course, and this year they're out here, the Online Performance, losing something off the back of the car, but well and truly out in front, and a 979 143. Craig, that is the first Australian 9-second front-wheel drive pass ever.
Online Performance will be happy with that one. That'll be awesome for the guys as we move back into Pro Qualifying number 2. Remember the Pro rear-wheel drive bracket brought to us by Chip Talk Performance. We've got Vince Regoli and Bill Naben, the Series 6 RX-7 up against the Datsun 1200 utility Fiat motor, up against the Mazda 20B.
Well, Naben's car, just a stutter off of the start line. Regoli out very cleanly indeed. Now the little Utes got a big job, but he won't get there. 924, 129 mile per hour for Naben, and a 956, 154 for Regoli. What a great looking pair of race cars.
I tell you what, another great looking car, Chris Dalton, the Series 6 RX-7 for Dalton Automotive, brings it by the 20B power plant under the bonnet, doing a buy run.
Now 880, 138 was the first pass for Chris Dalton. What will he uncork? Will he run into the 850 region?
Well, I'll tell you what, Jace, he's come off very, very sadly on the start line. There may have been a couple of problems for Chris, and very wisely pulling over as quickly as possible. A very good seasoned campaigner, Chris is. Pulling over nice and quickly, getting it out, and making sure he's not dropping anything, if he is, on the track.
Moving now, of course, or maintaining the Pro rear-wheel drive category, all thanks to Chip Talk. And we're about to see Martin Hurd take on Joe Signorelli.
Marty Hurd has been campaigning this little Datsun 1200 coupe for a while now. Got the 13B under the bonnet up against Signorelli, the Series 6 RX-7. Both the guys out quick. Signorelli really moving, and I tell you what, this car has got so much development in it. It is fantastic. 764 at 170 miles an hour. That is the quickest pass so far today. Once again, we got the Turbo Smart in-car camera.
And the next pairing to come forward will be Rodney Penrose from New South Wales and Andrew Morados. Of course, the Mad Dentist in the RX-3, about to take on this little 2800cc Vida Beetle. Great shot indeed, looking straight down the barrel at Rodney Penrose.
Jace, I don't know how much of the original engine is Volkswagen anymore. It's mainly Autocraft. Oh, Morados gets out dead straight. Big wheel stand from it. And I tell you what, this thing is moving down the groove this weekend. 825, 163 miles an hour.
the guys now we see, of course, all thanks to Summerco Kiwi Challenge, Glenn Suckling from New Zealand, and the Trans-Tasman Challenge this weekend with, of course, Ronnie Lim and Glenn Suckling making the tour across. And great to see the guys in Australia for the first time.
You see the white plume of liquid, or white plume of gas actually in front of his face there. A little bit of nitrous oxide there. Just purge it to actually clear the lines. Make sure he's got a direct hit of it as soon as it does leave. These cars, the first time they've ever been outside of New Zealand, coming over here for the Fast Fours Jamboree and putting on some exhibition passes, hopefully going personal best this weekend, due to the fantastic quality of the Australian tracks.
Yeah, I think the quality air and, of course, the great track and surface that Willowbank provide. Gets out, does Glenn Suckling with a 1.35 60 foot. Now goes through into the fourth gear to 855, 165 mile an hour.
That just became the quickest street-tied GTR in the world, right in front of us.
Get out of it. The quickest GTR on treaded tyres. And hailing from New South Wales is Chris Agoris. Of course, this great little Mazda B, and never ceases to amaze me how they've got a big set of tyres like that under the back of this ute, Craig.
This ute, I tell you what, a lot of development gone into it, and the chassis work has been sensational. Pack performance. It always leaves nice and straight, nice and hard. Got the wheelie bars there. And look, I think someone's either left the Zeus clip loose with the bonnet they're getting up. But Chris Agoris, 913, 150 mile an hour.
Well, I've been waiting to see this car. Dominic Rigoli, the Subaru WRX wagon, up against Ben Hunt, the RX-7. So we come away a .805 reaction to a .989 from Hunt.
921, 143 mile an hour. Dominic Rigoli has just broken the Australian WRX record for ET.
Well, 921, 143, no need to pull the chute, as now Scott Pendle comes forward. Oh, and what a wheel stand from the Grimace.
How's the driving effort from Scott Pendle there? Getting it all crossed up. The little KE20 Corolla. As we see on the replay here.
The Fast Fours action replay capturing it all. And didn't Scott have his hands full, lock to lock, trying to keep the thing on all four wheels? Well, a beautiful afternoon indeed here at Willowbank as we move along with the modifieds of Peter Demet and Ben Siddell. Of course, we've seen this car many times before of Ben Siddell's.
Ben Siddell all the way from South Australia this weekend. If anyone actually realises that this is the Maztec RX-3, that's why, I tell you what, it leaves very, very straight. And all the time, big wheel stands. It is sensational.
Comes out with a moderate wheel stand this time. I think Ben very keen on getting a quick pass down the quarter mile. Peter Demet, they're not really in the show.
Ben Hunt now, the Series 6 Mazda RX-7, lighting him up on the start line, up against Matt White in the Mazda RX-2 Coupe beside him.
Yeah, of course, Matty White, one of the nicer looking little RX-2s around this weekend. Green lights, fellas, away we go. Of course, reactions with a 1.3 and a 1.4. A little bit sluggish on the start line. Out of the groove is the little RX-2 of Matty White, but he'll still go through to click the win.
And this is Ronnie Lim, the Honda Integra for the Sunoco Racing Fuels Kiwi Challenge. As we see, Ronnie, the fastest front-wheel drive in New Zealand, has come over with Glenn Suckling to come and race here on the track.
And of course, Glenn Suckling has run a personal best. How will Ronnie Lim go? Problems.
Big problems there. As you can see, a big move to the right-hand side of the track. Whether he's broken a drive shaft, front-wheel drive, Jace, are very, very harsh on the drive shaft.
I'd say so.
Look at him back up the line there. Big, big burnout marker.
Only from one wheel, though, so, yeah, we would assume that a driveline joint is broken, and unfortunately we will not see a representative pass.
Kevin Award now, the Mazda RX-4.
Up against Terry Schroeder, the Subaru Liberty. So the Liberty's got the headlights ablaze. We've got a race on our hands right now. The Subaru Liberty driver gets out first with a great .493 reaction. but the 20B RX4 has got it all over him in the power department. Runs on through to go 9:35, 149 mile an hour, and of course a 13:72.
George Raham now, the Pack Performance MX6, coming out one more time. We love to see it. The guys can always turn the car around, take it back to the pits, fill it up with a bit of juice, guys, and bring it back out of the track. And I tell you what, they can do it, the Pack Performance guys. This MX6 is sensational.
Yeah, that it certainly is. Of course, the first full-powered pass we saw from him was a 783. Let's hope that the Pack guys have filled up the tank enough to get it down the strip for another tough 7-second pass. There's a great shot of George sitting in the cockpit. That is the office for him today. That's where he's got all the business at hand to do.
We get all the sponsors on the side there, JR Filters, Turbo Smart, all the guys. I tell you what, it was a bit laggy off the line there, picked up Boost, and he's just backed it off a bit, maybe not happy with that run.
Craig, sensational. When Boost came on for the MX6 end, it literally picked up the driver's side front wheel.
Colin Wilshire now with the Jet Racing Datsun 1200 utility, the Mitsubishi engine under the bonnet of this thing. A little bit different, rather than everyone going the Nissans. He thought, nah, we'll go the Mitsubishi instead, gets it up on the trans brake, leaves really hard. The car going nice, fast and straight, and moves it through 871, 152 miles an hour.
Well, Tony Curry bringing out the Telecom M8 Ford Probe this weekend, and some serious testing these guys have been doing for Mazsport, of course, and slowly but surely sorting the car out into the 8-second region here today.
Well, this is a brand new car, Jason, the 20B with 3 turbos hanging off it, so it's got triple of the best, triple rotor, triple turbo in the Ford Probe. There's not too many people know what this thing is, because it's got the fantastic paint scheme, leaves really hard, and well, Tony seems to have a couple of problems, a couple of teething problems, as you would with a brand new race car, but the guys have been working frantically so far all day today, and making sure all the bugs are trying to be ironed out for tomorrow.
Well, of course, day one of the 2003 Fast Force Jamboree qualifying is where we're at. And looks like Vince Rigoli making his way forward. In beside him will be Brisbane's own Mark Ashford in that great Nissan 200 SX.
That's right, the full carbon fibre S14 of Mark Ashford there. I'll tell you what, his pit crew certainly looking the part out here at the Fast Force Jamboree, the J13 this weekend.
And of course the Ashfords have gone from the 2-speed Powerglide this weekend to the 3-speed C4, hoping that extra gear will be able to help their boost problems.
Well, a lot of the 4-cylinders with huge turbos do struggle on the line to make boost. They put the trans brake in and have to wait and wait and wait on the line to make some boost, as you can hear now in the stage line.
Rigoli gets out very nicely indeed. Ashford with the big chase home. A little bit of wispy smoke out of the back of the... Oh, when it steps sideways at speed. Let's have a look how they went. 864, 152 mile an hour for Rigoli. 876, 163 for Mark Ashford. Tough race.
Mr. Enforcer, it is Matt Lyle himself with the rotary-powered RX3 sedan on the line here. Is our business, Mr. Enforcer, and there ain't nothing like it. Bring it out to the Fast Force Jamboree, and wow, what are the sparks coming out of the back of this thing? Is it the differential or something hitting? The car is sitting right down in the back, but Matt Lyle looks like he's going to take the win. 11.68 on 117.
Well, looks like the Sunoco Kiwi Challenge car has returned of Ronnie Lim, and of course Ronnie with that broken drive shaft on the last attempt. Let's see how he'll go this weekend. He's taking on Mark Bourne in the little Datsun 1200.
I think all the Datsun 1200 utilities that are around the place have been taken up and put CA18s or SRs in there. I don't know what happened with Ronnie just there.
He's just left on us.
He didn't even go into stage.
Smokin' Joe Signorelli returns in this great Series 6 RX-7. And in beside him we will see Andrew Morados.
This is round 3 of the Pro Rear Wheel Drive qualifying, brought to us by Chip Talk. the mad dentist, Andrew Moratos, has got the car back, painted him red because he thinks, well, hey, it goes faster, and he does have the car stepping up really well. Joe Signorelli, the more that Joe races this car, the more development goes into it, and I tell you what, Jason just keeps going quicker and quicker and quicker. Runs it through the traps, 767, 178 mile an hour, up against 825, 162 for Andrew.
Now George Raham comes back with the Pack MX6. And of course this is the Fast Fours Jamboree. We hope you're enjoying day one, the qualifying. And of course George Raham, this will be his third full power pass. We've seen him do a launch. We've seen him run that awesome 7-second pass.
Oh, Jace, you see it come on boost. Bogged down off the line really bad. Comes on boost, just picks both of the wheels up off the line. And I tell you what, just carries it for ages.
Well, when the guys sort that combination out, it is going to be a force to be reckoned with. Chris Agaris now for Pack Performance. Good smoky burnout. Gets daylight under the rear wheel of that little Mazda utility. The thing just up on two wheels effectively.
Looks like he's sorting himself out there. Maybe gave himself a little bit of a fright. But this little ute is crazy.
Crazy, an understatement, I think. Pre-stage is on. Let's go for a ride with him. Squats the rear of the utility right down nice and low. Those wheelie bars making sure that it keeps the front wheels on the deck. Doris runs on through 881, 152 mile an hour.
Bill Naben and Dave McPherson coming forward now. Bill Naben, the Series 6 RX-7 for Mazsport.
Plenty of flame out the side of Naben's car. We love to see plenty of flame.
Oh, I always love to see a bit of flame. And Dave McPherson, the quickest untubbed rotary-powered vehicle in the world. It is an Australian car, and it's right in front of us here today, Jace.
Well, can't wait to see McPherson, of course, renowned for decent wheel stands as well. Oh, and speaking of a decent wheel stand, McPherson has to drive the thing out near the centre line. Nabem also out near the centre line, and he'll run on through to get there. 882, 154 mile an hour for the RX-7 of Bill Nabem. Well, how was that wheel stand from McPherson? Very spectacular indeed.
Everyone loves it. Put your hands up if you love the wheel stands. Archie Kieski now moves out the car, just getting out of the groove there, so he shuts it down. Oh, a bit of a flame.
And the hectic Pack Performance RX3 Coupe making his way out. That's Elia Hajar, of course. What a tough little burnout indeed. The Smokin' Award is up for grabs this weekend, of course, for the best burnout, up against Michael Xanthidakis.
The Series 1 RX-7, both in the yellow schemes, the paint scheme getting very popular, and Pack Racing backing both of these guys. The RX-7, big top end. Is it going to come through? No, the hectic gets there in the end. 962.
134 mile an hour. Well, Christian McGrin up against Mick McGregor. McGregor in the little Datsun, and the RX-7, of course, 13B powered. McGregor just rolling in the beams, but he got a green light, and Christian McGrin, he starts to make his way out. He's out in front. Oh, he's out of shape. That's what he is. Did somebody explain to him that this is a drag race, not a drifting competition?
I don't know whether he saw the entry form or not. I tell you, this car, he's gone the half-track drift. I don't know what has happened there, whether he's hit the nitrous and she's gone sideways. But
well, he's held onto it very well, though. We might give Christian McGrin a big rap, because have a look as we now go into the Fast Fours action replay. He is fully sideways.
I tell you what, he is definitely the drift king of this event. Ben Siddell back again in his RX-3, the high-stepping 20B powered RX-3. Oh, big wheel stand there, as we always have expected out of Ben Siddell. And he comes in the car, always running straight, nice, and always true. Runs it through 928, 142.
Well, reach for the Sky Award as we go into the Fast Fours action replay. And you can just about see the braided line underneath the body of the RX-3 there, as day one of qualifying comes to an end. Well, it's day two here at J13, and the first cab off the rank for this morning's entertainment is the Northfield Car Sound DB Sound Off. With me, I've got Jamie from Northfield Car Sound. Jamie, welcome along, and how's it been going this morning?
Oh, it's been going excellent. We've had great turnout. We've had more cars than any other comp this year, so we've got 28 contestants. It's been going really well. Great weather. Everyone's been having fun so far, so it should turn out to be a really good day.
Once again, Northfield Car Sound have brought to us the lovely Flirt models, and they are certainly a favourite here at the Fast Fours Jamboree.
Well, Craig, day 2, 9 a.m. nice and early here, and it is the start of eliminations with the Pro rear-wheel drive cars.
Smoke and Joe Signorelli back again, the Rotomaster. Series 6 RX-7 up against Mark Ashford and the Ashford Racing S14 200 SX. Both the guys get out nice and smooth. Well, Joe a bit more smoother than Mark. 765, 176. Smoke and Joey just keeps getting better.
Bill Nabben now moving forward inside. Bill will be Chris Dalton, the pair of Series 6 RX-7s. And don't they look a treat out here under that beautiful morning sky.
We got Bill Nabben and Mazsport up against Chris Dalton and Dalton Automotive. They're the Mazsport car right in front of us. Both these Series 6 look awesome. Both leave very, very hard. Dalton, the big wheels up launch. Nabben, the better of the two, getting out nice and hard. Half track, this car is flying. 807 at 169 mile an hour.
908 at 148 for Chris Dalton. Andrew Moranos, the Mad Dentist in the Pack Racing RX3, brings it out. Tyres ablaze. Oh, what a burnout. Looking for the Smoking Award. And beside him is going to be the M8 Telecom Ford Probe of Tony Curry.
Racing for Mazsport this weekend. Tony Curry bringing this car out, the car's debut meeting. The 20B triple rotor and triple turbo up against the Mad Dentist Andrew Moranos, the RX3 sedan. Both the guys just about to leave right away. Getting out pretty smoothly. Curry still fighting out the bugs, a brand new car. But Moranos, look at him go through all the way there. 828 at 157 miles an hour. 865, 158 for Curry.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was a good pairing. Only, 4/10 of a second between the two as the next pair come forward. Vince Rigoli up against Chris Agoris. We've got a pair of utilities about to battle it off. And the front bonnet just popping up there for Agoris.
A little bit of a chassis twist, popping the little Zeus fasteners off the fiberglass front. The guys just securing it, making sure everything is nice and safe. Very, very cool helmet there, the flame job. The Mazda B Series utility, a bit of a wheel stand on there up against the Datsun 1200 utility, probably the smallest four-cylinder utilities available on the market. And Vince Rigoli running it through a 907 155.
957 151 for Chris Aguirre.
Another demonstration here, the guys. Pack Performance laying down many a pass here this weekend. The first pass for day 2 here at the Fast Fours Jamboree, the Mazda MX-6 of Pack Racing. We've got green lights. The guys, the preparation is crucial.
Well, they ran 780s yesterday. How will they go today out here on day 2 of the 2003 Fast Fours Jamboree?
810, 167, Jace. It keeps getting better.
It certainly does. Well, 8 seconds a little bit slower than yesterday, but still I think they're on a really good run. Okay, now moving forward, we will see, of course, the next car is Archie Kieski, the Mazda Cosmo, ex-Chevy Beretta Pro Stock car. And it's now in the hands of Archie with this 20B rotor on board. Change the grille, change the headlights, and now it's a Mazda Cosmo. Certainly looks the piece with that awesome Harlequin paint. This looks like it's going to be pretty quick for Archie. Runs on through 837, 154 mile per hour. Well, he's slowly but surely starting to increase the ET and the speed. As now, once again, the Sunoco Kiwi Challenge comes forward of Ronnie Lim, and this is going to be a great matchup.
It should be very, very good. Here we got Ronnie Lim for the Sunoco Kiwi Challenge, bringing it up against, Jace, he's broken something again.
Not again. He has had such a troubled weekend this weekend, Ronnie Lim. What a shame. That would have been absolutely awesome seeing the Online Performance CRX take on that Honda Integra of Ronnie Lim, but not to be.
Danny Veselinovic and the Online Performance guys have certainly got this car moving this weekend. The first car here in the 9-second bracket. They've broken the Australian record. This is the second pass for the guys. Let's see what they do. 979, 147. It's exactly the same as yesterday. Here we are again, day 2. We're with Denny and the Online Performance CRX. Denny, a big weekend so far for you?
Yeah, it's worked out really, really well.
It's excellent. The car has actually run quicker than its PB, and tell us all about it.
It's actually unexpected. The track conditions are actually pretty good, and the car's responded really, really well. The tyres are great, and yeah, we're actually quite surprised that it's run that time with the horsepower that we've got.
And so far, well, we just see it from you guys. The first 9-second pass in Australia. Online Performance have done it with the Del Sol, the tube frame car. Must be over the moon with it.
Oh yeah, it's just amazing. It's more than what we could have ever wanted, you know, to come out here and just run a 9-second pass and be consistent, and yeah, just to put on a really good show, and the crowd love it. So it's really good support.
That's all, guys. Make some noise. Hi, Elise. How are you going?
Not too bad.
Do you have a favourite car here?
I do have the 350Z.
Hi, Tina. Make some noise, guys. Tina, Scott, Northstar. Go, Sky.
I'm just here to have fun. If I win, I win.
Alright, that's a good enough reason for me, guys. I think the girls have got on stage at the moment. Say hello. News from Team Tonka. Last minute entry. Glad to be here. And a bit of room for the cameras as well. Girls, smile as cameras there. Julia, it says here is a Subaru WRX. So for everything, you're all too busy with the cameras. Click, click, click. Don't forget, guys, coming up after this, we have the WRX. She's in the R&B as well. So girl likes to dance, I can tell. Hey, finalists. Should be asking for some last words. No. 2003 bikini competition. This dance. The second place winner of our Bikini Babe competition is Elise. Please put your hands together. And Elise is the winner. I'll tell you who that is, that's Tina. The wonderful Tina. One more girl, two.
Well, South Australian Kia Wilson brings forward this GTR Skyline, and what a great looking car. Isn't it strange to see a parachute on the back of one of these Nissan GTR Skylines?
Well, Jace, I tell you what, not strange. It's going to become a very appropriate thing to have on the back of it if you run over 140 miles an hour, as Kia Wilson does in the R32 Skyline. You definitely need it, and this thing is motoring 975, 154 miles an hour. Tim Graham now, the Datsun 1200 sedan, up against Kevin Webb in the Mazda RX-2 Coupe. A couple of huge big intercoolers there. Well, Webb unfortunately crossing the centre line, the Mazda RX-2 getting way out of shape, and Tim Graham taking the insta win in the little Datto 1200 sedan.
Sydney's Eli Harjar brings back this 13B powered RX-3 to take on the high-smoking Michael Sheringham's FJ20 powered Holden Gemini. And the crowd-loving dual side-by-side smoky burnouts, red light, as Michael Sheringham drags through on the trans brake through the Christmas tree, and of course records a red light, handing the instant win to Eli Harjar. Well, the second of the Rahams making his way out now, Rodney Raham, who is of course the youngest brother, about to take on Shane Pavey in that WRX.
The 2.5 twin-turbo, well-streaked WRX of Shane Pavey coming up against Rod Raham in the more race-prepared, I suppose, Mazda RX-3 Coupe there. Pavey getting out nice and early. Obviously, he's dialed in at a 13.25. Up against a 9.54 Rodney Raham and, well, Shane Pavey way out in front. Rodney ain't going to catch him. Matt Lyle and the Mr. Enforcer RX-3 sedan. Big smoky burnout. They love their burnouts here at the Fast Fours Jamboree, and Scott Pendle up against him in the KE20 Toyota Corolla, the rotary-powered Grimace Corolla.
Wait for the wheel stand from Grimace. Comes out. Looks like Scotty's tamed it down just a little. Was that Matt Lyle's boot open?
I don't know what's going on. I think one of the crew's gone, hey, you forgot your lunch, it's in your boot.
So Matt Lyle on the brake. Scott Pendle runs on through there, and he goes through to run 9.94, 134 mile an hour.
Michael Silk, the Datsun 1200 wagon. Probably something you don't see every day, the Datsun 1600 wagon, or 1600 wagon I should say, up against the Mazda RX-3 of Mustafa. Both the cars now into stage, the SR20 in the wagon and the 13B Turbo in the RX-3.
Mustafa out with a good reaction, a 0.49 to a 0.73 from Silk, and he's made up the deficit, runs on through very convincingly, 10.41, 135.
Phil Burnett up against Rob Barak. Phil, the skyline moving around quite a bit actually, still to half track. Rob Barak, the country's quickest Mitsubishi four-wheel drive, huge big pass for him, 10.28, 125.
Well, Phil Penny now, this great-looking S600 little Honda to take on Damien McKern's RX2. The McKern & Associate RX2 has been running very strong this weekend. A personal best, I believe, has been recorded. And the S600 Honda of Phil Penny, doesn't it just look a treat? It looks like Phil is out. A good 0.53 reaction. McKern out not as well with a 0.961. So will the winner be Phil Penny? It is indeed. 14.59, 77 mile per hour, beats a 10.22. Rodney Penrose now in this chop top, very sleek looking V-dub, about to take on Neil Penboss. Now Wally Penboss, of course, in the maroon coloured V-dub. Well, we've got Penboss out and gone with a 0.54 reaction. Now waiting on Penboss. He's got the shootout early. Is it enough to secure the win? I think it is.
Dave McPherson coming towards now the Rotorworks rotary-powered KE20 Corolla on the line, the world's quickest untubbed rotary-powered vehicle, up against Angus McMaster in the RX-7. Angus getting out, wheels up there. Dave McPherson, the wheels coming up as well. Angus way out in front. Oh, Dave McPherson clipping the wall, Jason.
Well, it looked very much like that. McMaster will go through to click the win, 10.19, 137. Peter Dimitri now takes on Mark Bourne in the little Datsun 1200 Ute.
CA18 DET power plant under the little Datsun 1200 utility. This thing is very stout. Let's see what it can do. A 1087, 113.
Todd Smith up against Colin Wilshire in the little 4G63 powered Datsun utility. And of course this 12A turbo powered RX2 of Todd Smith about to battle it out.
Todd Smith dialing in at the 13 flat up against the 865 of Colin Wilshire. So a big weight on the line for Colin. Todd Smith leaves the line now in the RX2 coupe, and Wilshire just about to leave. As he does, a big chase on his hands. He's mowing him down, mowing him down. Can he get there? Todd Smith's way out in front. Todd Smith takes the win, 13.27, 103.
Glenn Suckling returning for the Sunoco Kiwi Challenge, this four-wheel drive R32 Nissan Skyline leads on yet another pass here at Willowbank, day 2 of the Fast Fours Jamboree. 856, 164, it's consistently in the 850s.
Alrighty, we're back again with Glenn Suckling and the Croydon Wholesale team from New Zealand. Just capping what we had yesterday, the guys have gone quick. Tell us about what the weekend's been like for you, Glenn.
Yeah, it's been really good. We managed to back up our pass we did yesterday afternoon very closely, which we're wrapped with, absolutely.
That's right. Tell us about the times that we got yesterday and obviously today.
Yesterday we had an 8:55 at 165.99 mile an hour, and this morning we've done an 8:56 at 164.77, so we're wrapped.
That was obviously a PB for the car?
Yes, it is. Yep.
Previous best for the car was 860, I believe.
869 at 158 mile an hour.
So the trip to Oz obviously worth the while with making the car go a little bit quicker.
Yeah, it was definitely. You know, the outside temperature is pretty hot here, but no, it's worked well for us.
That's right, it's so different. Like the temperature in New Zealand is quite a lot cooler, but the car's gone like 0.1 quicker again, so it's a bit of a black art, I suppose you'd say.
Yeah, the track's definitely better than our country, that's for sure, but yeah, the outside temperature is a little bit of a hindrance, apart from warming the track up well for us. So, but yeah, it's been great.
Good to see. Well, fantastic. Hope the weekend. Are we going to see it out one more time?
Probably not today, no. No, we'll just pack things up now and get ourselves sorted and get it back in the container to ship it home.
Well, thank you very much, Glenn and the Croydon guys, bringing the car over. Obviously, Sunoco Racing Fuels being the second half of the Kiwi Challenge, obviously with Ronnie Lim. Worth his while coming over here, going very, very quick, a personal best and backing it up. With obviously in the 1% of the rules. Thank you very much, Glenn, for coming over to Australia and racing the car, showing us how you guys, the Kiwis, can do it. And hey, it's the quickest GTR that we've got over here at the moment in the soil.
All right, thank you very much. Excellent.
Have a look at this.
This is Theo Woolett from Brisbane Street Machines. He's going to go for the Smoking Award, the biggest burnout here at the Fast Fours, Jamboree 13. And look at the job he is doing.
Still hosing the tyres. Good plumage of smoke out the back of that skyline. Nearly to half track. That is the half track markers that you can see. A big black set of tracks left. And Theo Woolett, well, he's given that skyline plentiful.
I tell you what, he just loves putting on a show for everyone, and it's good to see. That's what it's all about here at the Jamboree, putting the show on for the fans. With the guy, Theo Woolett, lining up now. He's got a bye run. He's handing up 10.95. He's dialed in at. And let's see what he can do. He loves the RPM in this Skyline. I think he almost hates the car. He almost abuses it, but that's just his driving style. Let's see what this 32 GTR can do. 1186, 114.
I think the burnout's killed it just a little bit as the Northfield girls make their way forward.
Right in front of us here. This is the sort of sights we love to see.
Well, have a look at this. It is a battle of the people movers. Lawrence Block in his Mitsubishi RVR up against Lou Fellows in the Forester, the EJ22 powered Forester. 13.9 takes on a 13.2 second dial in. Of course, Lou Fellows with the faster. The Subaru Forester is out, although really starting to charge hard is, of course, the car of Fellows. Will he be able to hold out the RVR? Who gets there? It is indeed the Forester.
Luke French now in the Nissan Skyline, the four-door Nissan Skyline RB25 under the bonnet, and well, turning the burnout on, getting a little bit of sideways action, and continues with the fishtail Luke French, and up against him is Anthony Dolly in the Mazda RX-3 with the 13B turbo on it.
Love the sign on the back. Want this? Phone the phone number.
Only been flogged at Jamboree 13.
Well, of course, Anthony Dolly. He's got a 1060 dial in, a 14.3 for the Skyline. The Skyline is out with the better reaction. And now, of course, Anthony Dolly. He's got the job at hand to try and chase down that big Skyline. Will he do it? No, he doesn't. 14.77, 95 mile an hour for the win.
Mustafa Elishmik in the Mazda RX-3 sedan, the yellow RX-3 sedan, up against the Series 3 RX-7, the white RX. Oh, Mustafa getting way out of hand around his half track, and I tell you what, he brings it back and, well, takes the win too, 11.1, 411.
Phil Penning now to take on Rob Barak. Barak, of course, in this great Mitsubishi Lancer, one of the fastest around, and of course the S600 Fiat-powered Honda. Out in front, and looks like he's got a pretty good lead over Barak. Goes through to click the win light, 14.5, 88 mile an hour.
Nick Mottram in the RX-3 Coupe here on the line. Oh, gets the wheels up and out of there. Up against Brett Standard in the Mazda RX-3 sedan. Both the guys here, both rotary power plants, but Mottram out in head right at the moment. 998, 132.
Dominic Rigoli on a solo run in this great Subaru WX hatch. Leaves the line 60 foots, 1.467, very fast indeed. And Craig, this WX wagon is on a move.
940, 142, he's just backed up the quickest WRX pass in the country. We're going to move on now to the Turbo Smart in-car action shot.
Have a look at his hands. Oh, there's a switch on the dash. Let's turn that one on.
And it just went 940, 142 mile an hour.
And that's the family Subaru wagon. Very tough indeed. Bill Nabham now about to take on Joe Signorelli, the Chip Talk Pro rear-wheel drive second elimination.
Bill Nabham for Mazsport here in the Series 6 RX-7 up against Smokin' Joe Signorelli and the Rotomaster crew in his Series 6 RX-7. Both 20B power plants under the Series 6s. Both blue paint jobs, very, very similar, both from Sydney.
I think, of course, Bill Nabham more with a pro street appearance, whereas Signorelli's gone for the full race appeal. And I've got to say that I absolutely love the flames up the side that gels in with the Aussie flag.
The Australian flag, Joe Signorelli, very prominent about being an Australian rotary enthusiast, and certainly something on the worldwide scale, and getting Australia out there, and he's definitely proud of the fact of that, and leaves very hard. Both these cars getting out nice and quick. Signorelli, the quicker of the two so far. He's got it all sorted. He's reaching for the parachute already.
780, 170 mile an hour. This guy's been Mr. Consistency in the sevens all weekend.
Okay, we're here with Joe Signorelli from the Rotomaster team. Joe, how's the weekend been going so far for you?
So far, very good. Yeah, very good. We can't complain.
Car's been running the numbers that you're wishing to run so far this weekend?
Yeah, we did want to go a little bit quicker, but just being the temperature, we're probably not going to get it tonight. But it's going real good.
It has been fairly hot, around about 30 degrees both days. Obviously today being Sunday. What times have you run so far this weekend?
We've ran on qualifying a 7.7, two 7.6s, and both races there we ran a 7.6, another 7.8. So
good mile an hour that you'd like to back up with an ET, or?
Yeah, one run we ran 178 mile an hour, which is pretty good.
Big mile an hour there for the car. What's the car's personal best to date at the moment?
7.58 it's ran.
And that's the quickest.
Mile an hour is what the mile an hour we did today, which is 178.
And that's the quickest car so far. This is the quickest car so far in Australia, the Rotor.
Yep, it is.
And only a 3/4 chassis?
Yes, it's only a 3/4 chassis. It weighs 2,300 pounds, so it's a pretty heavy car. We've got the new one in the process of building now, so next Jamboree we'll have the light one back out here.
Any different or specific improvements or different tweaks you're trying for this weekend?
Every track's different, and we just got to play with every track. So yeah.
Looking to go a little bit quicker tonight, hopefully?
If the weather cools down, we get over this clutch a bit, see if we can go quicker.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Joe.
Thank you.
Chris Aguirre now, the Mazda B-Series utility, getting them lit up and getting angry in that tiny little Mazda ute. This has been a one favourite car, and Tony Curry back out here, the M8 Telecom Ford Probe.
Well, this is, of course, the second round of eliminations for the Chip Talk Pro rear-wheel drive. Have a look at that car. Does that not look sensational? And this car equally as impressive. Those tubs are the biggest I've ever seen in a little utility.
The Curry Brothers racing car always presented fantastically. The scheme, the paintwork on that car is just sensational. It is full on.
Well, remembering, of course, in the Pro rear-wheel drive bracket, it is heads up, no dial-ins. Run, watch your brung, and let's hope Tony Curry has certainly got enough to take on Chris Agoris. Wait for it. Here they go. They are away, and Curry is certainly out and gone. Got the better reaction of the two guys, and guess what? He's got a win. Runs on through 850, 162 mile an hour.
Vince Regoli, the Datsun 1200, the utility, the Fiat engine under the plate. And I tell you what, this thing is stonking. This car's been around for a long time, up against Andrew Moratis, the Mad Dentist, for Pack Racing. And I tell you what, he loves his burnout in that RX3, the 20B power plant under the bonnet. The guys, the team there, making sure everything's okay. The parachute release. Moratis backing up in the nice, big, hot, sticky tracks he's just laid down. Regoli and Moratis bumping them both into stage now. The V&E Regoli prepared, Datsun 1200 utility, the Fiat power plant, Moratis for Pack Racing, the 20B under, both leave. Regoli looks like he's left a little bit quicker, 1.2960 foot up against 1.26. It's going to be tight at the end. Who gets it? Regoli wins, 851 at 158.
Mark Ashford now to take on Chris Dalton. And, well, looks like the solo signal has just been given to Mark Ashford Dalton not able to front, so we'll see Mark go it alone.
And Ashford just rolling it there, not having to waste as much fuel or put as much stress on any of the components as he would doing a full solo pass.
Well, hey, at the end of the day, he has got the win. He will be going to the next round of Pro Rear-Wheel Drive thanks to Chip Tool. Great crowds here this weekend. I've got to say, Craig, that over the 2 days, of course, we've seen some sensational crowds through the front gates. As now this man, Ronnie Lim from New Zealand, brings forward the Magan Turbo Honda Integra. He's had nothing but grief all weekend.
That's right, the Australian tracks being a little bit more sticky, but someone who has had nothing but success this weekend is Denny Veselinovic and the online performance crew, the Honda Del Sol CRX, the tube frame there. As you can see, Denny working everything, all the components in the car going the first 9-second pass we've seen here in Australia, and Ronnie Lim hoping that the car will do a 9-second pass. Has done them in New Zealand, but the Australian track nice and sticky.
Yeah, and working very well for the online performance CRX. Pre-stages are on for both cars. Lights come down. We have got a green set. Ronnie Lim out marginally better than the online team. The online team losing something from the back of the car there, but well out and truly out in front. Run on through to stop the clocks, 9.95, 143 mile an hour. We now see the return of George Raham in this Pack Performance MX-6. What a great looking race car that it is indeed on its debut event. Looks like in beside is going to be Archie Kieski with this Mazda Cosmo for Mazfix. We've got ourselves a pairing in the Pro Rear-Wheel Drive cars between these two, and it should be an absolute ding-dong battle.
Both of them debutants this weekend, the Mazfix MX-6, the first race meeting for it out here, the 20B twin turbo under the bonnet of the MX-6. On the line here now, just getting it into stage, doing a solo pass for us here. Brings the revs up, launches, a little bit doughy on the line, gets it all sorted out. Looks like the car's running through the straight and narrow, right in the groove. The car running 785, 169.62 mile an hour.
Well, of course, the Jamboree 7-Second Club has another member this weekend. And now we see Archie Kieski about to come forward to put another solo in. I thought for a moment there we were going to see the Pack guys take on the Mazfix car, but not to be. It will be a solo.
By both cars, they are both debutants this weekend, so just in case anything happens, this thing is hooting down the track. It is moving in the groove. He's got it moving 865, 153. Okay, we're here with Darren at the moment, part of the team of the Magan Turbo Warehouse. Ronnie, having a couple of problems this weekend, Darren, or?
Well, his weekend has been marred with a few mechanical problems. Ronnie has stuck a new front end into the car, new suspension setup, changed from conventional struts to Carter-style struts. So this track was the first time he's had to test that. That has given him, along with his bigger tyres, a tyre shake problem. Tyre shaking is when your tyres are grabbing an inch and letting go and grabbing and letting go, and it's sent vibrations through the whole car. So much so he can't see actually where he's going.
Yeah, a bit of a problem, I suppose, more predominantly in the top door slammer and categories like that, rear half chassis cars. But obviously a problem with Ronnie this weekend. Give us a rundown of basically every run we've had so far and what problems obviously associated that we've had.
Well, his first two runs were just licensing passes for Andra, and then he went out and did a half pass and found he had too much tyre shake, and with that much tyre shake he just couldn't even hook second gear, so we had to abort that run. Then we came back and worked on his tyre shake problem. We fixed that problem, increased his spring poundage by about 25 pounds per square inch, increased the bump on his shocks, sorted that problem out. We went out, grabbed good traction, and it broke an axle. So we came back, fixed the axle, went back out there again. The next run broke the gearbox. So and that was that for yesterday. This morning we get up early, replace the gearbox, the car's running sweet. We get out to the track and some condensation's dripping off his ice can for his intercooler, and that meant the officials wanted him off the track. So we got off the track, and now we've just gone back out and done the first proper full pass, and he's done a 1070, quite conservative, so we're just going to dial in some more power and see how that goes.
And a gorgeous afternoon here at Willowbank Raceway. Everybody lapping up the sunshine. Make sure you slip, slop, slap, and Well, have a look at this guy. It takes all kinds, doesn't it? But he's enjoying himself nonetheless. That's the main thing right here at the Fast Fours Jamboree.
And Brett Young red lighting there in the VL Commodore, the only one for the event. But Theo Woollett from the Brisbane Street Machines R32 taking the win. A 10.92, 127 for Theo Woollett.
Well, Lou Fellows now brings back the Subaru Forester, the EJ 22-pound Forester, to take on Dwayne Ashton. So Dwayne Ashton in the RX-7, the 13B turbocharged Series 6. And the delay there will be around about 1.5 seconds between each of these cars. It's hard to believe, isn't it? Only 1.5 seconds between the Subaru Forester and, of course, the little RX-7. And have a look at that. The Forester goes through to get the win. Lou Fellows goes to the next round of GCG Turbochargers Modified.
And we got Shane Pavey on the line in the WRX up against the Marty White. Well, Marty White's actually at the helm of this R33 Skyline to date, driving for Jason Appleton. And the Skyline gets away. Pavey, the big chase on his hands. This car was driven to the track here today and will drive home. Pavey has the big chase on his hands, but Marty White, can he get there in the end? Looks like he has done it, and we're looking at a 11.31 at 125.
Chris Adams now takes on Mushta. So Mushta in the RX-3, Chris Adams in the little Datsun, and of course he's driving away with it. But Mushta comes around him in the deep end, gets the win there, goes through to run 10.62, 130 miles per hour. Now Dominic Rigoli for Rigoli Racing comes forward, and he's going to be taking on Nick Veljanowski. So Veljanowski moving forward in the Mitsubishi Lancer. Great split scene, all thanks to Turbo Smart in-car camera this weekend. Have a look at Rigoli going through the automatic gearbox, gets around the Mitsubishi Lancer for the win. Runs on through Dominic Rigoli, 920, 145 miles per hour.
He has just broken his own personal best record and gone a little bit quicker than the current Australian four-wheel drive.
And the crowd's loving it. As you can see now, we see the next pairings, Phil Penny up against Cherie Beavis. Beavis is in the Nissan Skyline, and of course Phil Penny in that little S600 Honda.
Well, this thing doesn't even have the Honda engine in it now. It's got a supercharged Fiat engine in it, Jace. It moves on through 14.26, 98 mile an hour.
Ben Siddell now to take on Elia Harjar. It is day 2, full eliminations here at the Fast Fours Jamboree for 2003. J13, of course, and we've got a great pair of RX3 coupes, 120B powered and 113B powered, but equally as fast. 9.25 seconds the dial in for Siddell, 9.5 for Harjar. Siddell is away.
That's right, Siddell out and gone. Looks like Harjar might have a problem there, or getting it right on the trans brake as we see him leave. But Siddell, 9.41, 142 mile an hour.
Well, a 6.69 second reaction for Harjar was never going to win a race. We now see Angus McMaster about to take on Nick Mottram. Mottram in the RX3 coupe. And of course the RX7 driven by Angus McMaster, the full boost.
Queensland associate. And getting it, looks like he's got the win there. 11.45, 100 mile an hour for Angus McMaster. This is the all-motor quarterfinal sponsored by Motul Oils. This is Jamie Ward, the Mazda R100.
On a solo, he runs on through 12.64, 109 mile per hour. So the all-motor now continuing along for Michael Ford and Phil Silk. Phil Silk, of course, running that little Datsun 1200 and a Chrysler Galant with a few problems. A bit of a miss there for Michael Ford. And we'll see the wind going through to Phil Silk there. He runs 13.4 at 84 miles per hour.
Motul Oils bringing us the all-motor bracket. And this is the quarterfinal. Dean Lawrence in the Nissan Skyline up against Daniel Kahns in the Mazda RX-7. Lawrence way ahead. He dialed in at a 14.99 up against a 13.8 for the RX-7. And the Skyline of Lawrence is pumping.
Breakout there, 14.97 on a 14.99 for Lawrence. As the next pairings, Dean Smith and Lee Anderson come forward. Anderson in the 808 wagon, and of course the RX-7 driven by Smith, and of course we see the wagon get there first. So Lee Anderson gets the win. Moving now into Bob Romano Performance Front Runner. We've got Nathan Home to take on Justin Cito. Cito in the little Sonata, and of course Nathan Home in the Hyundai Accent. And in front at the moment, looks like it is the little Hyundai Accent over the Sonata. Will the Accent be able to hold him off? He certainly does just that. So the Mazda Estina of Justin Gregory taking on Adrian Wild's Honda CRX. And the little CRX, well, power to weight ratio, you'd think it'd be coming home.
Look at Justin Gregory taking a peep around the corner and wins it too, 13:53.93 mile an hour.
So staying with the Bob Romano Performance Front Runner, we've got Nathaniel Simmons taking on, of course, Mitchell Shepley. Shepley in this little Corolla, and of course Simmons in the CRX. And Mitchell Shepley, well, he's red lit his way, so he will hand the instant win to Nathaniel Simmons in the little Honda CRX. The CRX 1262, 103 miles per hour. Well, Craig, the crowds have certainly stayed around in their droves all day long, which is great to see.
And they do to see action like this. This is Craig Melbourne, the Mazfix. Little RX3 with a 20B wedged into the engine bay of that, up against Rong Lang in the Holden Gemini with a 1GG bonnet. Big wheels up launch there for Craig Melbourne in the RX3, getting a little bit taily around the half-track mark. But this thing is really moving, getting it out and taking the win. A 10-1-1 on a 136 miles an hour.
Well, Craig Melvin certainly driving it fast and furious. Dominic Rigoli now up against Sean Mann. This is the fastest in Australia as far as the WRXs is concerned. Now starting to come home on that little Celica, and have a look how fast he's coming home on him. 9.13, 148. That is now the quickest Rex in the world, bar none.
We just saw it right in front of us, Jason. That is amazing. 9.13, 148 miles an hour.
Well, what else can the 2003 Fast Force Jamboree offer us? We have seen it all now with Marty White at the wheel of Jason Appleton's
big wheel stand
Skyline.
there for Ben Siddell in the RX3, getting the wheels right up in the line there. It looks like he's going to take the win. 9.35, 144 miles an hour for the little RX3.
Looks like some very picturesque scenes happening outside. And as we move now into the Chip Talk, round 3, pro rear-wheel drive, Tony Curry up against Mark Ashford. Rotor versus piston.
That's right, it's a big thing overseas, and we're starting to see it here in Australia. Ashford racing the S14, the 200SX. Turbocharged 4-cylinder up against triple turbo 20B 3-rotor of Tony Curry and the M8 Telecom Ford Probe. This is Pro Eliminator. The lights are going to come down. There's no handicaps to be set. Ashford going into stage, going to be building boost.
Tony Curry comes out on a .62 reaction. He's looking like he's got this car on a mission, although it was out near the sideline. 8.13, 172 versus an 8.86, 156. And Curry is there first, gets the win, and I'm sure he'll be very, very happy with that.
This little Mazda B-Series utility, Chris Aguirre, he's been here for the both of the days, and he is loving the action, the burnouts, the sights, the sound. This car is going places.
Well, speaking of sights, of course, there is none finer than at J13. We certainly hope that you've been enjoying all the action as we've brought it to you over the last 2 days. Signorelli in the RX-7, and of course, Agoris in that little Mazda.
He gets out really, really hard. I'll tell you what, I don't know whether there's a problem with Smoke and Joe, but Chris Agoris, he's got the win, and I can actually see that Smoke and Joe Signorelli ain't behind him, so he just might well shut it off and take the win.
Well, I guess remembering that Smoke and Joe has won 2 out of 2, so he's already going to the final. Ronnie Lim now from New Zealand with the Sunoco Kiwi Challenge.
Putting on a big show here for us weekend, and Ronnie full power pass, 10.41, 139 mile an hour.
Another of the exhibitions, all thanks to Mazfix and Archie Kieski. Gee, it sounds very sweet, this run. What's he got in store for us? 8.05, 169 mile per hour. Well, that is his personal best to date.
Now this car, I'll tell you what, it has been impressive over the 2 days here at the Fast Fours Magazine Jamboree. Big burnout there by George Raham. The crowd are loving it.
The crowd, I'm loving it.
The action is coming thick and fast. The MX-6, it is so impressive. You wouldn't think that this thing had run. It looks that good.
Well, have a look at it. It's just, 3:40 in the afternoon, and the sun is out. A small brisk breeze, and the pack guys from New South Wales are about to come and put down another very staunch pass from this MX-6. And we've seen some fast 60s from this car. We've seen him into the high 7-second region. Of course, joining the Jamboree 7-second club. What's he got in store for us? Let's ride with him, shall we, Craig?
Let's do it, Jace. Crossing the line, 792, 168 miles an hour. Gets the appreciation.
Well, how's that for consistency? 792, ran 780 in a previous pass, and the 60s are sharp. They're around the 1-1 region.
The man himself, this is this beautiful black beast. The Dalton Automotive Series 6 RX-7.
I can see some fluid on the track there. Little bit of fluid leaking from the side of the car. You can just see it down in front of the Dalton Automotive Series 6 RX-7. There was certainly a problem. All right, moving now into the exhibition run between two of the toughest skylines here this weekend. Theo Willett, how's that for the Smokin' Award? If he doesn't win the Smokin' Award, I'll be running down this track pretty much naked later on tonight.
Well, that will almost guarantee him the award. In fact, I'll guarantee him the award just on that.
Thank you very much, because I wasn't looking forward to running down the track.
He's coming up against Kia Wilson all the way from South Australia this weekend. Come up to Queensland, get the beautiful weather, get the fantastic track that Willowbank Raceway have certainly provided us with. Both R32 Skylines, both four-wheel drive. Theo Willett, the white Skyline. Kia Wilson, the silver Skyline.
Red light from Theo Willett. So he's automatically handed the win to Kia Wilson. Wilson goes through to run 10:41, 140 mile an hour. Jamie Ward returns with the Motul Oil All-Motor semi-final. He's up against Phil Silk, the Dial-Ins. Well, let's have a look. 12:49 for Jamie Ward, 13:1 for Silk.
12:49, the peripheral port 13B up against a 13:1 for the naturally aspirated L20 Nissan engine. And I'll tell you what, Silk has certainly got that little Datsun 1200 humping. It is moving and, actually taking the win.
Dean Lawrence now to take on Dean Smith. Battle of the Deans. Dean in the RX-7 and Dean, of course, in the R30 Skyline. Problems for Dean Smith in the RX-7. And it looks like Dean Lawrence is way out in front. Going to be a tough ask to actually stop him from here. You can't do so. On the brakes with a big dive. 15.49 safely at 65 mile an hour.
The Grimace Corolla, it's been here all weekend. Scott Pendle up against William Wu in the R33 GDR Skyline. Smokes the tyres. Scott Pendle in the Grimace. It gets out of shape as it always does, but still running true. And let's see what it can do. Is it going to have the top end to beat it? Well, looks like he has got it.
Well, the GCG Turbochargers modified. This is quarterfinals, and we've got out there at the moment Sean Mann up against Matt Tremble in the 200SX. And Tremble, he's out and gone with a good .406 reaction. And now we see Sean Mann start to run on by. He'll drive it on through the back door.
Cherie Bevis on the line now. The R33 Skyline leaves the line, taking on Shane Locker in the modified quarterfinal. The little Mazda rotary turbocharged utility has got a big chase on his hand, chasing down the Skyline. And can the little utility do it? No, he can't.
Lou Fellows now to take on Ben Siddell in GCG Turbochargers modified. What a wheel stand from Siddell. He has just pulled them off all weekend. Lou Fellows in that Subaru Forester. He's got the RX-3 beaming down on him, and the RX-3 will get the win. 9:26, 144 mile an hour.
Nathaniel Simmons, we're now in Bob Romano front-wheel drive Eliminator. This is the semi-finals time. This car was the first car in Australia to go under the 10-second barrier. It did it here at last year's Jamboree. The Fast Fours magazine, Jamboree 12, but this is J13. We're here at the moment. Nathaniel Simmons up against Justin Gregory in the Mazda Estina. The Estina has left quickly, and Simmons has got a huge chase on his hands. The race car versus the street car. Well, Justin Gregory way out in front, and looks like he's going to take the win nice and easy. 13.89, 78 mile an hour.
Nathan Home now to take on Lorenzo Eade. So we've got Lorenzo Eade running the Toyota Camry, the Hyundai Accent, of course, the vehicle of choice for Nathan Home. And we've got a very similar dial-in, 14.4 to a 14.3, only a tenth of a second the difference. And these guys really battling it out as they make their way down the track. Who gets there first? It'll be 106, Nathan Home in the little Hyundai Accent with a 14.59.
We're now back in the GCG Turbochargers modified semi-final. William Wu up against Cherie Bevis, a pairing of R33 Skylines. William Wu, the R33 GTR, which means we're a four-wheel drive. Cherie Bevis leaving early in the GDS, which is a two-wheel drive. And let's see what he can do, the four-wheel drive versus the two-wheel drive. William Wu way out in front, very, very early. And good bracket racing, taking it easy, 11.69, 105.
Now Sean Mann in the Celica about to take on Ben Siddell. But this little Celica, have a look at the size of the intercooler popping out from underneath the front grille there. Ben Siddell, as I mentioned, bringing forward the Rapid RX3 Coupe. And this is one of the toughest that I have seen. Of course, renowned for its wheel stands. And the photographers have certainly kept a close eye on Ben all weekend. 12.08 takes on the 9.25. Great reaction from Sean Mann. Got out on a .461 light. Siddell is really going to have his hands full if he wants to win this one, and does not do it. 12.16, 1.13 for Mann in the Celica. Secures the win, and unfortunately that's the end of the racing for Ben Siddell here this weekend. Here at J13, all thanks to Fast Fours, and of course now we see the next exhibition for Archie Kieski and Mazfix. Of course, local Southside Brisbane-based racer has stepped up from the Series 6 RX-7 into this Mazda Cosmo, and he gets a little out of shape, puts the tail out near the side wall and pulls the chute nice and early just to, I guess, give himself a little bit of peace of mind that everything is under control. Totally new ride. This is a full chassis race car. A little bit different to what he's used to driving with the Series 6. We do need to thank, of course, VPW and Northfield for all of their support throughout the last 2 days of J13.
That's right, Victorian Performance Wholesale been a huge part of the Fast Fours magazine. J13, and of course Northfield Car Sound putting on the monstrous big sound display that we've had this weekend, and the DB Drags. But on the line at the moment, Chris Dalton and the Dalton Automotive Series 6 RX-7. Big launch for Chris Dalton, getting out of the line, the 20B powered Series 6. Still not sounding like it's fully on song at the moment. I'd say something's come astray on the car, but runs through the traps. 967, 139.
As we now move into the Bob Romano Performance Front Runner Final, we've got Nathan Home up against Justin Gregory. The Mazda Estina takes on the Hyundai Accent.
Well, the Accent is way out in front at the moment. Gregory's got a big chase on his hands to try and get him down. It looks like he's having a couple of problems there, buttoned off, and the Hyundai Accent has taken the win of Nathan Home.
Moving into the all-motor final for Motul Oils, and that is, of course, Dean Lawrence up against Phil Silk in the little Dado 1200 sedan. And, of course, that RB30 Nissan Skyline. We've seen him do a few passes throughout the last 2 days. And, of course, Lawrence, he dials in with a 14.99. Silk is faster in the little Datsun with a 13.1. And we will see that difference of around about 1.8 seconds between these two cars. How's the reactions? Slightly better in the lane for Phil Silk. But as you can see, he's way behind Dean Lawrence at the moment. Looks like he'll run on through to take the win, Willie.
And he certainly does. 15.11 on 76 miles an hour. This is the modified final, the GCG turbocharged modified final of William Wu and Sean Mann. Sean Mann leaves in the Toyota Celica up against William Wu, the R33 GTR Skyline. Big chase on William's hand against the little Celica. He has done it. He's way out in front, 11.37 at 98 miles an hour.
Wow, you're joining us now with the Chip Talk Pro Rear Wheel Drive final. We have got Tony Curry up against Joe Signorelli. So Smoke and Joe will take on the M8 Telecom Ford Probe of the Curry Brothers race team. Trying to get second gear there, maybe even first gear to begin with. Then he slaps second gear. And I tell you what, this is a good strong burnout, Craig.
The car sounding very much on song there. Huge big burnout by Tony Curry in that Ford Probe.
The Rotomaster Racing Innovations Series 6 RX-7. Gee, it looks a treat with those flames up the side. And, of course, the business end of the deal. That is the office. That is where Joe has to do what he does best. And that is, of course, pedaling this RX-7 down the quarter mile for his 7-second time card.
Deep into the 7-second bracket there now. The Mazsport prepared. Curry Brothers Racing Ford Probe, triple turbo, triple rotor. Well, there's a little bit of smoke coming out of the underneath the car there. Looks like everything's okay. The crew signalling to go forward. Well, the Willowbank officials making sure there is nothing coming onto the track, but
they've given him the thumbs up and said that he can move into stage. And of course,
the crew actually pulling the pin there. Jace actually going, no, nothing's. Something must be wrong with the car. So, well, Joe Signorelli getting the one. The one is the You Are the Solo Man, the single pass. Joe Signorelli leaves. Big wheel stand there for Smoke and Joe and the Rotomaster crew. Goes all the way through. Looks like it's an all-A-OK run. Huge big pass there for Smoke and Joe.
775, 174 mile per hour. Commiserations, of course, for Tony Curry into the final here on the debut of this beautiful Ford Probe, but not to be. Well, let's go to the Turbo Smart in-car camera for the final time here today.
Well, that wraps it up for the first two-day event here, the Fast Fours. Jamboree 13, along with Northfield Car Sound, we must thank VPW, Victorian Performance Wholesale. I'm Craig Roberts.
And I'm Jason Bean. We'll see you next year.